Hey,
Hey, so did you all get that file that I sent with the invite this morning?
there's a file.
What's that?
I didn't. I just. I didn't read the email, so I just clicked the link.
Oh, okay. Well, it doesn't matter, but I sent you a file of six FANG SONG GONG exercises, and we're going to do those six this morning. We'll also do them next week too. As you can see, Catherine is not here today. Jack is not here today. They're off doing other things, so we'll need to do these again next week. We actually did them, I think, once a few weeks ago.
Malcolm, we also
Yeah.
did these as part of Pirate Qigong. We couldn't remember all of them, but we
Oh,
remembered a couple and we really liked them. So this is
okay.
really awesome.
Good. So we're there. There's many exercises that are Fangs and Gong. You can actually just make them up. As with everything else, it's how you do it that counts, not really what you do. Although these are very traditional, so that's kind of cool because you're in line doing things. And Fang Zhong Gong is not necessarily associated with Hongyan Tai Chi or Hongyan Qigong. It's widely practiced in all forms of Qigong and Tai Chi. And what we're going to learn is a series of 12 moves that pretty well covers the gamut of what you do. However, although we're going to do them as a routine, they're usually not actually done as a routine. They're kind of done. They're kind of done randomly while you're doing other things. When you need a few moments to kind of rest and settle down, say between forms or between routines, you might pick a couple of Fang Song Gong exercises and do them. Sometimes it's just one exercise. I think I've mentioned the first one, which is just called Yin and Yang Harmony, right? This one here is very common. So you might see people waiting at a tournament to do their form, or maybe they've finished their form and they may very well do an exercise like that. It just allows you to keep things moving gently without really getting yourself into a whole other thing, right? However, you can also do them as a routine. The reason I like to do them kind of just spontaneously and randomly, it's much nice for me. It's much nicer that way. But we'll do them as a coherent routine, right? So let's go ahead and do the six of them. Let me get my sheet here. Okay, so this is what I sent you guys this morning. So look on the invite for today. Look for this file, and those are the first six moves. And then after a couple of weeks, we'll do the final six moves. And we've done some of these. Actually, I think we've done all of them, but we'll do them all so that you can remember them all. Right? Okay. So the first one is called Heaven's Qi Clears Obstructions, or you could say Yang Qi. Heaven is Yang, Earth is Yin, humanity is in between heaven and earth, and so we're a combination of Yin and Yang. All right? And this is an exercise we begin uh, every Sunday morning. It's about cleansing the body with Yang Qi. So you reach up open palms to heaven and gather Yang Qi, breathe it into the top of the head, and then breathe out as you wash it through the body. And when you get down to the Dan Chen, you can breathe in again and then wash it out the bottom of the feet. So a couple of points. In most Qigong exercises, you bring the qi to the dantian itself. Sometimes to some of there are actually many dantians in the body. This is the dantian here, but this is actually called the middle dantian. And so you gather qi, you bring it into the dantian, and then you leave it there. So you're charging up your dantian, but not this exercise. This is a very unusual exercise. It's about washing the body and washing out any tension or obstructions in the body. So you bring the qi in through the top of the head, right? The Bahwei acupuncture point at the top of the head, and then you wash it through the body and pick up any obstructions, right? Any tension in the body or discomfort in the body. And then all the way down, it goes all the way down to the bottom of the feet and down and out into the ground. And then 3 Daiji Qigong. And relax. And yin and yang harmony. Okay, why do they call this yin and yang harmony? Jill, why do you think they call this yin and yang harmony?
Because yin and yang are contained within movement.
Well, that's a good political answer, but look at what I'm doing. How does yin and yang harmonize in this movement?
Well, it's moving off the central axis.
Yes,
So you've got left and right.
yes.
Um,
All right, you have left and right, right? And you can see you're shifting your weight back and forth, all right? Which of these is, which side is yang and which side is yin?
mm,
One way that you can characterize yin and yang are the terms full and empty. When a big jar is full, that's yang. When it's empty, that's yin, right? So which side is full? Which side is full and what is it full of? And which side is empty and what is it empty of? Genevieve, any ideas?
I remember you using honey to explain this move. So I think when my hand is going like this, it's sort of like full, like brushing through the honey and dragging some up. And then when it goes back, it's dripping off. So I'm kind of full on the ascent and getting emptier on the descent. And then the opposite on the other side.
There's a lot of truth in that, but we're going to have to pick it apart a little bit, right? When your hand goes up like this, that's pung. You're expanding in all directions, right? But it shows up where your hand is. That's a yang move, right? Because it's expanding. When it contracts again, that's yin. Yang, yin. Yang, yin. Yang, yin. Now, but think of take that, put it aside for just a moment, and let's look at the lower body. You're shifting your weight. Which side is full? Which side is empty?
I'd say the right side is full.
This is the left side. Now it's the right side.
Yeah.
Where your weight is, that's the full side. Where your weight is not, that's the empty side, right? So it's left, right, left, right, left, right. Oh, what happens if it's exactly 50-50? Exactly. That's called being double weighted, and it's a big no-no, right? Try this. Put your weight exactly 50-50. Try it right now. All right? Exactly 50-50. Now move one foot. You can't do it. That's why it's a big no-no, right? You're always in Tai Chi and Qigong, you are always moving your weight from one side to the other. It's never 50-50, right? The side that's bearing your weight, that's the yang side. The other side here that's empty, that's the yin side. But if you shift your weight, now this becomes the yang side, and this becomes the yin side, right? So a lot of this is just simply about left and right harmony, right? You're the two forces are in absolute harmony with each other. To the extent that I'm yang on this leg, I'm yin on this leg. That's harmony. To the extent that I'm yang on this leg, I'm yin on this leg. That's harmony. They harmonize perfectly. We use the word harmony a lot in Tai Chi and Qigong. But another more English word you could use is just coordination. They're coordinated, all right? So if I deliberately put my weight to the right, the left becomes empty. I don't even have to think about it. It just happens automatically, right? Now, there's a complexity to this that, as there usually is for Tai Chi and Qigong, that Genevieve just pointed out. When I raise my arm, that's yang. When I lower it and relax it, that's yin. So what's actually happening between the upper and the lower body?
They're also shifting between yin and yang.
This is becoming more yang while the leg is becoming more yin. That's another kind of harmony, right? So there are two functions going on here, left and right, up and down. If you start thinking about them, you won't even be able to move. So you don't have to worry about them. You can just relax into this, right? But that's why it's called yin and yang harmony. You're actually practicing a fairly complex set of coordinations in the body.
Malcolm, this is funny to me because I've been thinking of this move as like the doggy paddle, which is like a dumb thing to do. So I think you're right. I can't think about this, but I understand.
When I, Genevieve, I'm the same way. When I love this particular exercise. When I do this, trust me, I don't think about any of that stuff. But I wanted you to know it, just in case you got to explain it to somebody someday, right? But don't think about it. Just feel the flow of chi through the body. Okay, a couple of points about what you should and should do when you're doing this. It's not just that your hands go straight up and down. They're actually circling. Small circles. All right? And one way to think about it is they're kind of circling around the hips, or they're circling around the Dan Shen. So your arms are circling, but your hips should be circling too. And that'll happen just naturally if you shift your weight. The second thing is, and this to me is what really makes this I know you can see the tips of my fingers are starting to swell. This is what really makes the exercise for me. When you lift your arm, your hand, it should almost be like there's some very light resistance to that, like cobwebs, right? It's very, very light. And then as you go down, the chi comes down your arm and drips out the end of your fingers all the way down to the base of your foot. Right? It's heavy. Right? Heavy. It's dripping down. Now, a couple of things will happen if you do it that way. This move becomes almost a form of self-hypnosis. Make sure you don't completely lose it and go off somewhere. But really, it's a form of meditation. It's very, very quieting. If you have a little upset or anxiety during the day, practice this, and it will help a lot, right? That heaviness in the body, heavy, relaxed. As you relax into this, you may feel your spine spontaneously make adjustments. You may get a pop or a crack or even a whole series of them through the spine because you're relaxing. And let me show you another exercise that I used to do all the time. This is not out of this series, but it's closely related. Hold on. Open your legs and circle. Very slow, very rhythmic. Okay, I could do that all day. You know, your knees, your ankles, and your feet bear your weight all day long, but they get very little love, all right? So this is about loving your knees, right? You can also work on your ankles or get your spouse to work on your ankles and your feet, all right? Because they really take a beating during the day and they don't get enough TLC. So that's a wonderful little exercise to relax and to be kind to yourself a little bit.
Do you have anything for trigger finger?
What's that?
Trigger finger.
Trigger finger.
You know this problem?
No.
It's basically where like it's harder to,
Oh,
yeah.
are you talking about it's like working a mouse on a computer and then getting carpal tunnel in that finger?
Yeah, well, it's very specific. There's like a little cartilage cuff
Uh-huh.
gets inflamed, and then it's like the tendon that moves through it gets stuck.
Yeah.
So like extending the finger becomes hard.
Difficult. Yes, I've had that.
Yeah, I'm starting to. I had it on my left hand, and now it seems to be coming into my right.
Are you doing something to earn that, or is it just happening spontaneously?
I didn't think I was doing anything particular, but I
I
noticed it at night, so I might be doing. I don't know. Who knows?
um, I used to have just an Apple Magic Mouse, which just presses down,
Mhm.
and I had at least a dozen times I did that. And it's very painful, or at least my version of it was. And what I found is you close and then press that together strongly, and it'll usually relieve it. However, I changed my mouse because it's a form of carpal tunnel. So
Mhm.
I changed my mouse, and now I have what's called a vertical mouse. So instead of being flat, it's straight up and down, and you use it like this. And I've never had any problems since then. Right? I'll send you a picture.
Okay.
Um, okay, number three. We're not even going to have a chance to go through all six of these, but that's okay. Number three is called Bear Presses Palms, and it's a version of yin and yang harmony, right? So instead of just very small motions, right, it's much bigger, and it presses down, right? So, right, bear presses palm. So about up chest high, right? And you're leading with your wrists. Right? You're leading with the wrists, and the hand should be completely relaxed. Right? And then shoulder, elbow, wrist, and now the palm presses down. Shoulder, elbow, wrist, and the palm presses down. Right? And shift your weight. So it's very similar to that to the earlier last move, but instead of circles, it's more straight up and down. So what is this one about? Well, it includes everything we just talked about before, but you're really practicing two of the 13 energies. Jill, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just had a question. So the weight should be shifting to the rising hand or the lowering hand?
The rising hand.
Rising hand. Okay. Thank you.
So it's very similar to the last move, but there's also differences. Here you're practicing 2 of the 13 energies, Peng and An. Peng is P-E-N-G, An is A-N. Peng is expansion, all right? Peng, 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 Peng. Now, when you do Peng, don't do it by lifting your arms from the shoulders. Do it by expanding from the dantian. All right? The dantian expands. It expands, and that lifts your wrist. All right? Lifts the wrist. What is An? An is usually translated into English as press, pressing down, and that's true. But there are levels and levels of this. So one way to press down is you press down from the shoulder, right? That's not what it is. It's pressing down by sinking your chi. Sinking your chi is exactly like this. All right? You see that blue sand falling down? The physical body doesn't change. All right? Only the sand is dropping down inside. That's what they mean by sinking your chi. So your physical body is not going to change that much. But watch. All right? All right? So first it expands, and then it sinks down. It expands and sinks down. It expands on the right and then on the left. Oh, this gets a little more complicated because one side is expanding while the other side is sinking. Expand and now sink while you expand on the other side. So what you are exploring with this move is the fact that you are bilaterally symmetrical, right? There are 2 of you. There's one on the right and there's one on the left. Right? One side is expanding, and then as it starts to contract, the other side expands. Expand and contract at the same time. So let's finish up. I'm going to tell you a little more subtle version of this. An is never about pressing down from the shoulder. It's fine to press down from the shoulder, right? There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not what An is. An is pressing down because everything in your body is sinking. There's another way to think about this because it can be very, very subtle. So I'm gonna give you an analogy for what we just did. Everything sinking. Imagine that you're standing in a pool of water up to roughly your crotch, right? And underneath each hand, you've got a beach ball. And you're going to push the beach ball down under the water, which is pretty difficult to do if you've ever tried it. One way to do it would be to do it from the shoulders, but we don't do that. Another way to do it would be just to sink all the chi in your body, all right? Boom. Everything is sinking. You're not sinking like this, but the sand is dropping down inside your body, all right? That's what most people do when they quote unquote sink. And that's what you do when you create on energy. But there's an even more subtle version of that. You're standing in a pool of water up to your crotch. You've got a beach ball under each hand. And now somebody pulls the plug and the water starts to drain out underneath the balls. And they just go down, right? That's a really light version. And that's the version that very experienced Tai Chi players use, right? So you can think about that. Oh, it's just the water's just disappearing underneath your hand. It's disappearing. Now, we talked in the previous exercise about empty and full. You can think about that this way too. This side is becoming full. Now it's becoming empty, and this side is becoming full. And now that side's becoming empty, and this side. So it's empty and full, 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 all right? So that's a wonderful exercise to just pump the chi through your body. It's also a great exercise for all the other Tai Chi forms of routines that we're doing. And it's a great exercise for Tai Chi, right? Because in Tai Chi, you are very often full on one side and empty on the other. I'll show you. I'll give you an example. Which side is full? Which side is empty? Why do it that way? For exactly the same reason we're doing it this way in Qigong. If one side's going to be yang, then the other side needs to be yin. It will be yin, right? But if you know that it's going to be yin and you practice that, if you want a really strong yang, like that, then you need a really strong yin on the other side. If you want to expand on the right side really strongly, then you need to empty on the left side really strongly. They go together. Not just the fact that they exist together, but their quality and their quantity depends on being conscious of both of them. So if I just am totally unconscious of the left side, and I do this, yeah, I'll definitely get something, but I won't get that much. But if I'm conscious of it, and I empty out this side at the same time that I fill this side, right, I'm going to get a lot more bang for my buck, right? And that's true in the martial arts, but it's also true in the healing arts. So, just being aware of this, this is a healing art. Let me give you another example from personal experience. Annie has a problem with her digestive system. It's actually, she has a problem with all this stuff. And very often in the morning, she will wake up and be nauseous, quite uncomfortable, quite nauseous. And we have figured out a cure for that. It relieves it almost immediately. Can you guess what it is? She goes and drinks a couple swallows of cold water. And when she does, it just relieves the nausea. So what is the nausea? From the Chinese medical point of view, it's too much heat. There's too much heat here. And it's making her really uncomfortable and even nauseous. She drinks that cold water and it all goes away. She's fine. That is a classic Chinese cure for, now it's not brain surgery, that's a different thing. But as far as balancing your metabolism, it's a good solution, and it's a solution that works. Right? I'll give you another example. I'm sort of picking on Annie just because we've been working on this. In addition to getting nauseous, she would get a cramp in her right side. And if you've ever had a big body cramp, they're very painful. And I mean very painful. And she went through a couple of episodes last year. You all know she had some health problems. This was one of the big things, that she would get into this cramp so strongly that she would end up throwing up. And she would be out of it. It would last for an hour or so, and then she would be out of it for a couple of days. How did she cure it? I hung a chin-up bar in the door of the bedroom. And when she starts to feel that coming on now, because it'll start, she gets that chin-up bar and she just hangs. And it stretches all this out. And she doesn't get the cramp anymore. And now she's practicing that every day, so she doesn't get any cramps anymore. What is a cramp? Here, this is a cramp. What was she doing when she was hanging on the chin-up bar? She was doing this. In Tai Chi parlance, this is open, this is closed. This is open, this is closed. If you're closing too much, then practice opening. If you're too hot, try a little cool. All right? Those are minor little things, but I gotta tell you, she was miserable with those two things. And these simple little home remedies, we went to doctor after doctor after doctor, and we got tested for this and that and everything, and I would sit there and hold her hand and we'd talk. They never found anything wrong. They didn't help us. They ran all the tests, but nothing, But she was still guys, she was in so much pain and so uncomfortable. And this would go on. These episodes would take a week or two for her to go through these episodes. So these home remedies that we found that worked, it's all just about balancing out yin and yang, fullness and emptiness, heat and cool, open and close. Very simple little ideas, and they work. One of these days I'll get her in here and she can tell you the story. Anyway, we're out of time. All right, we'll pick it up again on Monday. You all have a great day. See you next time.